Hey there, everybody. Thank you for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it. This is part one, thank God, of a multi-part episode I'm calling officially Installing a Murphy Bed with Additional Storage. That's the official name. Although in-house, I'm calling it simply my photography room project, shorter. I say thank God because we have had some technical difficulties as we start this project. Not so much with respect to the shop, but as I said, technical difficulties. Without making this too long, basically I started out, I'm like, I'm gonna follow this thing from beginning to end, every part, gonna show all of it. So I went to my lumber supplier, put the order in for the sheet goods, for the plywood, purchased lumber for the countertops and face frames and all that kind of stuff, and started the process of making the countertops because the sheet goods are on order. Haven't picked those up yet. And once I got a couple days of shooting in and had enough footage for, I thought, part one, went upstairs to start editing, and somehow I managed to kill the external drive where all the footage was stored. So all that's gone. That, I'm sure, started things. That frazzled me, I know. So after spending about 2 hours maybe on the phone with Adobe, which they're great, by the way. Adobe's awesome. I have their Creative Cloud subscription, so I have Lightroom, Photoshop. Using Premiere Rush, now I'm using Premiere Pro after all this. But anyway, after about 2 hours on the phone with them, they were able to get on my computer and help me to regain access to my projects, but all the footage is gone. So basically what I wanted to show in the first part of this is gone, for the most part. So then I said, let me just, I'll go down. That was one piece of the countertop. Let me go down and kind of redo it for another piece that I did yesterday. Did that. And got upstairs, start working on it, and realized that there's no audio. So, again, I'm sure I got frazzled with the first thing. And so anyway, today I'm starting over. But all is not lost because I have one more piece of countertop I need to make. I can kind of go through what I did the first few days of shooting. And also I'm trying to incorporate a different camera angle in my little channel here. I went out and bought the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. Try to, add a little more interest to what I'm doing. So I'm trying to incorporate some more stuff and maybe I have too much going on, I don't know. Anyway, I'm restarting the project today from a shooting standpoint, and what I already shot and didn't lose, I had some video I didn't lose, is a little intro I put together for my office with SketchUp to kind of show how I started the project, how I'm still going to start the project. Because again, thank God this is only part one, because had this happened further along, perhaps all I would have published on YouTube is the intro and the end. But I still have a lot to do. Haven't started again. The sheet goods are still being cut at the lumber supplier. So anyway, to start, let's get on SketchUp and go through the intro that I already shot, and then we can come back and I can talk about what's happened, what I did, how I did it, and then we can go on from there. All right? So here we are in SketchUp, and if you saw my intro video, you'll recognize this. This is my design layout. This is what I'm going for, the finished product. But before I put this presentation together, I went through and added dimensions for the whole project. Obviously to help with construction and also to help me understand materials needed, both in terms of lumber, like for face frames and things like that, and also the sheet goods that I would be purchasing from the lumber yard. And actually, with respect to the sheet goods, I'm going to need like 12 sheets of plywood for this project. So I knew there's no way I'm going to be able to or would want to buy 12 sheets of plywood and then use my track saw to cut them down for all the base cabinets and bed frames and that kind of thing. So in my lumber yard, where I buy this stuff, they do a great job, very accurate cuts. So I actually put this information together and provided them with this to do the preliminary cuts for me. And actually, they should be done by December 27th. They said if they're done sooner, they'll give me a call and go pick it up. But they have this information. They're working on it now. Most of this is birch plywood. I have some pre-finished maple in here as well. But again, they'll do all the cuts for me. I'll go pick it up, and then I can take it from there to do the work of construction. But it'll be a lot less work on my end once they get done. So, like, for instance, this is the bed frame. These are the sheets. This will be all just birch for the bed frame, like the door panels, I'm calling it, and the outer frame. This is what they have for the base cabinets. Again, the preliminary cuts they will do. I can finish construction from there, and likewise the shelves. And the base cabinets, actually, that's going to be pre-finished maple because most of that's going to be on the inside, so that'll be done for me. So they are working on that, and they should have that done by December 27th. I can pick that up. But I did go ahead and get the lumber I needed. So what I'm going to start with now in this part of the project are the countertops. The corner countertop, 3 pieces there, and also for the right side here, which is just a flat piece. For the corner countertops, and what I'm going to do, I bought walnut, going to be walnut butcher block. I'm going to make the blanks for this, and I'll do the final cutting to side once the cabinets are finished. All right, and just one note here, if you're wondering what these, if you're not familiar with SketchUp and wondering what these weird shadows are here, if you're ever working in SketchUp and you have 2 planes that interact or connect, and you haven't defined each of the pieces as components, you get these weird shadows, which, not that big of a deal. Like what we're looking at here, all that junk there, that's because of the shells. But anyway, we know what it is. Not that big of a deal. So yeah, today I'm going to work on the countertops, the blanks, and wait for the plywood to be done so we can go on to the base cabinets. All right, so with that, let's go down to the shop and get started. Okay, so here's what happened. I have already made these 3 pieces, the blanks of countertop for the built-ins. And I made those by milling 6/4 walnut. Here's some waste from that work, by the way. But I did that, created that by milling 6/4 walnut and then cutting 1.5-inch wide strips out of the boards, joining the boards on end using this finger joint bit on my router table to create this kind of joint here. I thought of using my domino joiner to do this, but this is faster. And this creates plenty enough glue surface area for a strong bond. So again, I cut, after milling the boards, I cut them at various lengths and then joined pieces at random end to end to create this type of look. Again, I was going for like a hardwood flooring type look for these butcher block tops. So that's basically what I've done already to make pieces like this. This is one of the end pieces, a blank. I'll run this through the belt sander, get it close to the final thickness. I'll cut it to size once the cabinet is done. But this is one of the blanks. I made both of these here, and also behind me is this piece here for the corner. So that's basically what I've done. And like I said, I still have the one countertop to make for, let's see here. for that in still. So that, hopefully I won't lose any footage, and I can show you that. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but anyway, I still have that one to make. I think I'll work on that today, but these pieces here are done. So that's what I basically have lost in footage, and hopefully that won't happen anymore for the rest of the project. All right, take 4. What I'm going to try to do is make this last countertop in the far right corner of the room when you walk in. And I think I have enough walnut here to do that, given how I piece things together. I'm not sure, but I think I do. If not, that's fine, because as I mentioned, I have to go back to the lumber yard anyway to pick up my sheet goods. And when I do that, I can buy one more piece of 6/4 walnut and finish this off. This is just a rectangular piece, so it shouldn't be that difficult. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mill these boards down to consistent length. There's a couple of different boards. And then start cutting them down into manageable sizes for joining and adding the finger joint on the end. Then I'll come back, cut them into strips, and glue them up for that last blank. And this is how I will feed the pieces, or actually join the ends of these pieces on my router table with the finger joint bit. By the sides that I have T will be facing up, and the sides with B will be facing down, just so that they fit together. So, do that next. we go. That's basically how this finger joint works. I think this is in focus. So now I'll just do the rest. Glue these together end to end, and tomorrow clean them up and hopefully cut them into 1.5 inch strips, and then I can make the final countertop. All right, I have finished profiling the ends. I've glued these boards up. Now what I'm going to do is clean them up a bit on the joiner, give them a straight edge so I can cut them into strips. This one I got to cut down a little bit here on the bandsaw. I think I'll just join the end actually. And then cut these into strips and see if I have enough material for this last countertop. Just enough. Luckily, I had just enough material to make the countertop, I think. So I may not need to go out and buy any more, or at least purchase any more when I pick up the sheet goods. All right, now let me arrange these. All right, now I'm just going to glue these up, let them sit overnight. right. Let that sit overnight. And then next, I'll do some rough cuts of all the countertops. Again, cut them to size before they're installed. But I do want to smooth them out a bit with the belt sander before I put them aside for the rest of the project.